Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Wrestling Experience. 3 years of fun, 3 years of entertainment, 3 years of sharing stories with you here on Thursday. And we got a plethora of things to talk about. Well, tonight we're going to talk about wrestling news. We're going to rewind Dynamite. We're going to rewind WrestleDream. And we're going to talk about Monday Night Raw. All of this and so much more here for you tonight on a Thursday night. It's Thursday. You've landed on that mother ship. Once again, you've landed on Planet Experience. You've landed on the Wrestling Experience. All right, folks, welcome back to the Wrestling Experience. And like I said, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you smash that like button. And of course, you subscribe today. I greatly appreciative. Okay, so folks, I hope you had a good Thursday. I hope you had a wonderful Thursday. I hope that you have a great weekend ahead. And of course, as we all know, Halloween is 1 week away, and that's next weekend, of course. And then, of course, we turn the calendar to November, and we're getting closer and closer to the holidays. And folks, everything's coming in rapid fashion. So let's just talk about this for a second. Let's give you some wrestling news, shall we? All right. Uh, Ru- Russell Economics. Russell Economics, and that's my source, reports that WWE ticket prices have nearly doubled since TKO took control of the brand in September of 2023. Despite the fact tickets for sports and other entertainment options haven't risen, haven't risen similarly over the same period, demands for WWE tickets remain high. That seems to be due to both sustaining popularity and scarcity created by reduced event schedule and scarcity created by reducing event schedule. So if you all must know, if you all must know, WWE tickets are very expensive today. And this will lead into the next story I'm going to talk about of SmackDown. And of course, what's happening with the WWE and their pattern and everything else. So we're going to talk about it. Jeffrey, what's up? What's up, Earl? Welcome to Jeffrey. Welcome to the mothership. Okay, folks. So yeah, ever since TKO has taken over WWE, ticket prices have skyrocketed and gone through the roof. And with the WWE's less event schedule, and more PLEs on their calendar and less house shows, the WWE in popularity is growing. And because of their growth, and because of this growth, they are in demand, and so is their tickets. But here's the thing that I don't understand, and here's the thing I don't get. When Vince McMahon was in charge of the WWE, he never raised ticket prices. They had always come to him and say, Vince, why don't you raise ticket prices? Vince McMahon never wanted to raise ticket prices because he cared about the fans in that way. He cared about their wallet. He cared about the fans, the typical fans who live paycheck to paycheck. And apparently, he cared about people getting into the arena and paying for that event. When I went to WrestleMania back in the days when Mr. McMahon was in charge, the tickets were affordable. They were very affordable for WrestleMania. Now, ticket prices are through the roof, and some people are skipping WrestleMania entirely because they can't afford it. They can't afford it, and that shouldn't be. That shouldn't be, especially if there's a fan out there who wants to see WrestleMania for the first time if they've never been to WrestleMania. They've never been. I've been to 11 of them. But I'm going to tell you this much, folks. I'm going to tell you this much. And I'll say this again. There's nothing like the good old days of buying tickets and not worrying about your wallet. But today you have to worry about your wallet. Times have changed. Times have changed. And we just have to move with the times. These are not those good old days anymore. The good old days are gone, long gone. When you used to go to a house show, you used to spend less than $50 on a house show. Now you spend more than that because the house shows are less and less being scarce. The WWE hardly does house shows anymore. They're walking away from that and they're reducing the way that they do their house shows. Case in point, Madison Square Garden. After 15 years of coming to Madison Square Garden and doing the WWE's holiday show, they're not doing it this year. WWE has decided to scrap it and not come to the Garden and not come back to Madison Square Garden. They're only coming back to the Garden on the 17th of November, and that will be John Cena's final appearance in the Garden, and it will be WWE's final appearance in the Garden for this year. So times have changed. Times have changed, and I guess we have to live with it. There's nothing really what we can do as consumers. You either support it or you don't. And I know some people who don't support WWE anymore. They don't even want to talk about it. They have no interest in it whatsoever. They wash their hands of them. And I don't blame some fans. I don't blame some fans because like I said before, times have changed. Attitudes have changed. Thought process has changed and everything else. So, and what did Jeffrey said? Now it's like tickets are for celebrities. Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. That is true. And what Jeffrey said, tickets are getting ridiculous. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are, Jeffrey. Yes, and I agree with your assessment. I agree. I agree. So, speaking of tickets, let me see if I can get this up here. Oh no, that is not the story. Hold on, folks. I'm looking for a story here. Okay. 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 Jeffrey said, "Wish we could turn back the wish we could turn back the clock." Yeah, well, I wish we could, Jeffrey, but unfortunately, that is not the case. Okay, folks. Speaking of tickets and WWE tickets, here's a story for you. Ringsidenews.com. This is from ringsidenews.com. WWE WWE is having a hard time filling seats for its upcoming Halloween edition of Friday Night SmackDown on October the 31st, which is next Friday. The event is set to take place at the Delta Center in Salt Lake City, Utah. But with less than 2 weeks to the show, tickets movement remains very slow. According to the latest update from WrestleKicks on October the 19th, only 4,000, listen to this, listen to me carefully, only 4,534 tickets have been distributed out so far, with a setup for 6,657 seats. This leaves nearly 2,000 seats still available. In an effort to move more, WWE has dropped the standard admission price from $50 to $40. They've also moved a large portion of the upper deck seating and remove the upper deck seating, or remove a large portion of the upper deck seating and reduce the prices across the lower bowl, signaling an aggressive effort to boost ticket sales. The show currently is trending far below WWE's usual attendance numbers. Last time SmackDown came to the same venue Last time SmackDown came to the same venue in November of 2024, the company drew 8,394 fans, nearly double the current count. On top of that, WWE's year to date average attendance site at 10,883, marking this episode noticeably a noticeable outlet. So with 12 days remaining, there's a chance things could turn around. But right now, the signs suggest WWE may be dealing with a lukewarm local response for its Halloween event. So apparently, in Salt Lake City, WWE's having a problem selling tickets. And well, first of all, the event is on Halloween, so that's strike one. That's strike one. Strike number two, Salt Lake City, Utah is really, yes, it's a sports town. Yes, we do have the Utah Jazz, the basketball team, but this is a wrong date for WWE to be trying to cram people into an arena like the Delta Center in Salt Lake City. And here's the reason why. First of all, it's Halloween. People are going to want to watch, people are want to go out and do Halloween parties and celebrations in the city, and everything else is going on. So they'd rather celebrate their time with friends and family on Halloween versus going to a WWE taping of SmackDown. So that's one strike against WWE. Here comes strike number two. The city really is not really geared towards a wrestling city. Salt Lake City, Utah is really not a wrestling city. It really isn't. I don't know why everybody thinks that Salt Lake City, Utah is a wrestling town. It's not. It really is not. It really is designed for basketball. If you want me to be perfectly honest with you, people more go to basketball games than they do a wrestling event in Salt Lake City. So I don't understand why WWE keeps going to that city. It really is not a city where you can jump up and down. Now, if you said Charlotte or you said Greensboro, those are wrestling cities. Those are wrestling cities. But Salt Lake City, Utah is really not a wrestling city. It's just like that city in Georgia. It's just not a wrestling town. It really is not a wrestling city. So that is strike number two. Strike number three, WWE should have thought about this. And instead of them going to Salt Lake and trying to put on a live WWE event, Why did they tape the show during Raw like they did in Pittsburgh? When WWE goes to Raw on Netflix, and after the Raw is over this Monday night, then take SmackDown in the same arena and be done away with it, and then just put it on in a tape delay. That I don't understand why won't you even do that? The SmackDown should have been taped right after Raw this Monday night in the same arena. I wouldn't have had WWE uh, rent an arena in Salt Lake City knowing it's a Friday night, knowing it's a Halloween night. So that's on WWE. They did an oops there. So what did Jeffrey says? Good point, Earl. They should have taped it. That's what I'm talking about, Jeffrey. They should have taped it. They should have taped it on Monday night when Raw was over. You tape it on Raw. After Raw goes off the air of Netflix, then you transform the arena into a make believe it's Halloween, and you transform it into this witchy or whatever you want to call it, or whatever production you want to do, and make it transform into a Halloween theme night, and then take SmackDown, and then bring it on television. Then you put it on the USA Network, so that this way you don't have any headaches of trying to sell seats. You don't have any headaches dealing with travel issues and trying to get into the city and putting the event together and all this stuff. All of those headaches would be astronomically over. It would have been over. Production could have just transformed the arena, talked to the arena people, asked them if they can do double back taping in the same building before they close down for the night, do the taping of SmackDown, transform the arena to a Halloween theme, and then make it like that. And that would have been done away with it. They're in Anaheim this Monday for Raw. So, okay, so you're in Anaheim. So, same arena, same event. Friday Night SmackDown will be taped inside the arena, and they turn it into a Halloween theme. And you got to take two tapings out of one, and that would have been it. That would have been it. So I don't know how this is going to look, folks. I don't know how this is going to look. I don't know what's going on right now, but I hope SmackDown ticket sales will turn around by the time next Friday comes. So Chris says, hello, Chris. How's it going? Hit the like button, Chris. Chris says, Torn Chamber, John, Stockton and Carmen were my favorite Utah. Yeah, it was Chris. I understand. And Jeffrey says, Halloween Havoc is having their show this weekend too. They should take notes on how to transform it. That's what I'm talking about, Jeffrey. That's what I mean. That is exactly what I mean. Okay, I read that. Chris says Salt Lake City, Utah is jazz country. That's what I'm talking about, Chris. That's exactly what I'm talking about. And okay, I think I caught up. Um, so Chris and Jeff, Chris and Jeff, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe today. Um, okay. So that's the story on SmackDown, and that's the story of the the tickets. And Jeffrey said Utah Jazz. Okay, Jeffrey. Okay, Jeffrey, if you say so. All right, folks. Let's talk about Swerve Strickland for a second. AEW is hoping that Swerve Strickland can make a winter return if his rehab from knee surgery stays on track, says Fightful's John Rorschach. If you haven't heard that Swerve Strickland did need knee surgery after he had his match with Okada in the last the AEW pay-per-view. So we wish Swerve Strickland the best of health, and we hope that he gets better, and I hope he comes back in the ring 100%, and he could go and pursue whatever he needs to pursue in AEW. Um, all right, let's move on. GCW owner Brett Lauderdale shared that his former champion deathmatch wrestler Nick Gage will not be attending any shows for the foreseeable future. Gage is currently in treatment and has been for several weeks and plans to stay indefinite. Lauderdale added that any promoters for the dates of Gage missed will be made whole as soon as possible, and Gage will provide an update when the time is right. So apparently, Nick Gage will not be doing any wrestling for GCW anytime soon. All right. So many injuries in wrestling. Yeah, Jeffrey. Yeah, everybody's gotten that bitten by that bug. Everyone's gotten bitten by the injury bug with wrestling. All right, folks. Braun Strowman told the Click's Baby Huey he'll return to wrestling someday, but is currently healing up and too busy with movies and TV projects. Strowman says he's really focused right now on the food space. Yeah, if you all don't know, Braun Strowman has a new show coming out on the USA Network, and it will debut right after SmackDown tomorrow night. Um, it will be called Braun Strowman Eats Everything on the Menu. Strowman goes around the country and in these restaurants and orders everything on the menu and tries different foods and everything else. It's going to be interesting to see what Strowman gets into. But the show is going to be interesting to say none the least. Um, I believe Strowman eats everything. I think so, Jeffrey. Well, I have a thing. If I can't pronounce it and I can't look at it, I ain't eating it. I just won't. I just won't, y'all. um, it's it's like diners, drivers. Yeah, yeah, diners, drivers, and dives. Right. So Braun Strowman eats everything. Yeah, I believe you, Earl. To me too. Yeah, I just, no, no, I can't touch that. Um. All right, so that's the story on Braun Strowman. Big Boom AJ's partner at Full Gear will be the man he faced at last year's edition of the pay-per-view QT Marshall, that from the Wrestling Observer. So apparently Big Boom AJ will be again at Full Gear this year, and he's going to be taking on QT Marshall. All right. I don't know why Tony Khan has to do this every year. I don't see the point in it. But okay. Um, from what it's worth, Harvard educated lawyer and former WWE superstar David Ortunga has a theory he admits he is wild, that WWE enforced Andrade's non-compete to get to AEW to try to put pressure on them to allow Edge, Adam Cole, to come back to WWE to battle John Cena one last time. Uh, yeah, it's wild that WWE's a well. I don't think you can. I don't think. I don't know about that. We don't need them. No, we don't. Um, I don't think you should be. I don't think David Otunga should be putting Adam Copeland and Andrade's situation in the same page. Both men are that's two different stories. Andrade has disciplinary problems, and Edge Edge just wanted out of WWE. I don't think the two are the same. I don't think the two situations are the same. To be honest with you, that's just um. Can Otunga do that? I don't know. He said it's a wild theory. I don't know what he's comparing it to because to be honest with you, you can't compare Andrade to Adam Copeland and say that Adam Copeland wants to be John Cena's final opponent. I believe John Cena's final opponent for Saturday night's main event has already been chosen, and I don't think it's going to be Adam Copeland. I don't know who it's going to be, but they're very tight-lipped about it. A lot of people are very tight-lipped about it. We don't know who John Cena is going to be. We have no idea who's going to be his final opponent. But whoever it is, it's not going to be Adam Copeland. I don't think. So I don't know. We're gonna keep abreast of that. We're gonna follow that. See. All right. Meanwhile, Andrade is out shooting down rumors he's in some Mexican cartel business or national crime scheme. Andrade told that particular Tranquilo and asked that everyone please stop making things up. So Andrade is tired of fans saying that he's in a cartel. And where do you all get these things from? Where does fans get their minds from? Really? I don't understand. I don't understand their thought process. I know who it is, or I know who it is. It's Earl. He's seen as no, it's not me, Jeffrey. It's not me. It's not. I'm not Cena's opponent. No, 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 no. That's not me. No. Um. So yeah, you all got to stop making things up about Andrade. Um. Okay, we read that, and yeah, Andrade has enough problems as it is. Absolutely, that'd be so funny. All right, folks, we got one more story for you. Then we're gonna move on. All right, folks. This story is let's see. Okay, this story is from WrestleNews.com, and it concerns Alberto Del Rio's personal ring announcer, Ricardo Rodriguez. Okay, so here's the story, folks. Like I said, courtesy of WrestlingNews.com. Ricardo Rodriguez' road to recovery has just been leaving WWE behind, and it was about surviving personal betrayal that nearly destroyed his life. During an episode of TV's Acaza El Guaja team, Aztecs Guaja VP, Alberto Del Rio dropped the heartbreaking truth behind the longtime friend spiraling into alcoholism, revealing that Ricardo's ex-wife cheated on him with his own brother. Oh my Lord. Good golly, Miss Molly. Mm. That Rodriguez's ex-wife cheated on him with his own brother. Okay. His wife cheated on him with the brother and then took everything from him. They literally cleaned him out and left him on the street. That sent him into a depression that led to alcoholism. The betrayal wasn't just enough. It was just emotional. It left Rodriguez financially devastated and homeless. Del Rio explained that the fallout pushed him into a deep depression that eventually led to alcohol dependency. Despite everything, Rodriguez fought his way out. Del Rio proudly shared that his friend has now been sober for over 2 years, but he beat it and he overcame 2.5 years ago. He's been sober ever since. Rodriguez has stepped away from wrestling world and entirely during the darkest period, but eventually returned this time to run his own wrestling school in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. When he came back after conquering his demons, he returned to the industry and started his own little wrestling school. Del Rio also emphasized that even enough, Rodriguez is best known as a ring announcer, and he's also been an excellent in-ring talent. He's an amazing wrestler. Technically, he's great, but he doesn't have the look, the aesthetic, or the physique to be marketable. Still, he's an excellent wrestler. Ricardo Rodriguez went through hell, stabbed in the back by two people close to him, left him with nothing, and drowned in alcohol to cope. But instead of letting it break him, he clawed his way out and rebuilt himself from the ground up, now sober, running his own wrestling school, back in business he loves. Ricardo's just surviving. He's surviving. And it's not just a redemption. Then what is it? So Ricardo Rodriguez has been through a lot. He's been through hell. He's been through hell. And this is a very sad story. This is a very sad story. And you know something, folks, when people betray you, especially when it comes to family, it hurts even deeply. It hurts deeply because you trust family members to always be there for you. But when they do these double handed, dirty things to you, it really hurts. And I feel for Ricardo Rodriguez. I really do. And I'm so glad that he put down the bottle and he made something of himself and he owned his own wrestling school, which is great. Which is great. I applaud him. And he's clean and sober, which is great also. That's why I tell people all the time, if you're going through the depression, if you're going through hard times, seek some help. Seek some help. Go out and seek some help. They've got tons of counselors and therapists out there that you could reach out to and get their number and call them up and ask for them somebody to listen to you. That's all you need is for someone to open their mind and their heart to you and listen to you. And that's what you need. That is what we all need if we're going through dark times. We need support, we need to listen, and we need the love. And that is what it takes to get that healing going process. So I applaud Ricardo Rodriguez and I applaud him. And I hope that he will be on the road to victory and on the road to redemption because he deserves it. Um, sober 2 years, that's commendable. Yes, it is, Jeffrey. Certainly is. Certainly is. If I was his brother, I would disown him too. That's why I'm grateful for DDP yoga. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. His wife and his brother never cared about him. No, I don't think so. No, they never did. No. That's great news about Ricardo. Absolutely, Jeffrey. Yeah, damn his own brother. Wow. Yeah. Ricardo was a great talent in WWE. He was. He certainly was. He was good at what he did. Okay, I read all of that. All right, folks. So that's the story of Ricardo Rodriguez. All right, folks. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to do it for the wrestling news. That is going to do it. That is going to do it, folks, for the wrestling news. And we are going to, at the end of the show, before we wrap up tonight, we're going to rewind WrestleDream. We're going to rewind Dynamite. But before we get to those two, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. This past Monday Night Raw took us on a journey in California, and oh boy, what a journey it was. It was a great Raw. I'm going to tell you something, folks. I saw Raw last Monday night, and I'm going to tell you something. I enjoyed the show. For the first time in a long time, WWE thought outside the box and gave you something that was a different main event from the Vision main event that we've seen every Monday night on Raw. And this was what I was saying. This is what I was saying. And this is what I was talking about. The WWE Raw started to get dull in the doldrums. And I just wanted something new and something fresh to pop off here. And I was very glad that they did do this, and I was very glad that they gave us a different main event than the Vision main event we got every Monday night. And this was good. This was really good stuff. I gave the show a B plus. I gave the show a B plus because I like what I saw. I like what I saw. First of all, it was great to see Lillian Garcia back on the scene. And by the way, congratulations to Lillian Garcia on signing WWE 2 more years. She signed on with WWE for 2 more years. So congratulations to Lillian Garcia for doing that. I applaud her for doing that. She belongs in the Hall of Fame, by the way, everyone. Lillian Garcia needs to be right there next to Stephanie McMahon in that Hall of Fame. And that is the truth. That is the God honest truth. Lillian is a soldier. She's a workhorse. She is a person that will work with you. She is lovely. And she loves that Spanish and English combination she does. She does a bang up job. She really does. She really and truly is a ring announcer, to say none the least. And I love her to pieces. I think she's a fabulous person, and she belongs in the WWE Hall of Fame. She really does. And I would, if I was in WWE, I would push for that. I really would push for that. And I wish somebody would listen and put Lillian in the Hall of Fame. And please, for heaven's sakes, this has been years and years and years already. Please put Bray Wyatt in the WWE Hall of Fame. He really deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. There's so many people that belong in WWE Hall of Fame. And Lillian is one of them. Charles Robinson is one of them. And of course, Bray Wyatt is one of them. All of those people need to go in the WWE Hall of Fame. Every last one of them. Because they are iconic people. And iconic people belong in the WWE Hall of Fame. All right. All right. All right, folks. All right. So, Raw last Monday night had a good show. It was a great show. It kicked off with Adam Pearce in the ring. Adam Pearce was in the middle of the ring, and he announced that Seth Rollins had emergency shoulder surgery. Seth Rollins' shoulder was destroyed in of course, Paris, and not Paris, excuse me, Australia. WWE Crown Jewel, Perth, Australia. Rollins destroyed his shoulder in the match against Cody Rhodes. All right, we fast forward to that to Monday Night Raw in California. In San Jose, California, Rollins could not appear on WWE TV, but Adam Pearce announced that Rollins went home. He had the shoulder surgery. Rollins is done. He is going to be on the shelf for months, which means that he cannot defend the World's Heavyweight Championship. The championship was then declared vacant. We then had a problem, and then all of a sudden, the rest of the Vision comes out. Braun Breaker and Big Bronson Reed come out with Paul Heyman, and Bronson Reed and Braun Breaker had the title around it on his shoulders. and he kept poking Adam Pearce, talking about you need to give him back the title, say please, and all of that. And what did Adam Pearce do? He removed Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed from the Battle Royal. He removed them from the Battle Royal. And why did I say a Battle Royal? Well, I'm going to talk about that in a minute. I'll talk about that. So the title was declared vacant. The title has been declared vacant. It's in the Batons. And the title is declared vacant because of what happened to Rollins. All right. So now, a couple of months now, we're not going to have Rollins on WWE television. Rollins was seen on Instagram with his shoulder in a sling, and the surgery was successful, and we hope that Rollins recovers very soon. All right, so then we had, let's get fast forward here. Then we had the tag team title match. It was AJ Styles and Dragon Lee taking on the Judgment Day. JD McDonough and Finn Balor for the tag team championships. People still think it's a work. I don't understand that, Jeffrey. I don't understand that. Let me just dial this back for a second. Let me just tell you all something. This is not a work. This is not a work. I really wish you, okay, when Rollins did the thing with the knee, that was a work. This shoulder injury was for real, folks. This man tore labrums and other things in the shoulder. His shoulder was completely damaged. He damaged the shoulder. And then when he went on Raw the next night in Perth, it was further damaged when he was tsunamied in the corner. So I don't want to hear anybody saying that this is a work. This is not a work. Rollins is hurt. And he's hurt bad, and he had to have surgery. So you all with this work stuff, stop with it. Stop it already. Rollins is hurt. He's not going to come on WWE TV. This is not a work. Okay? Adam Pearce wouldn't have came out, and if this was a work, first of all, he wouldn't have told Adam Pearce anything. And then if it was a work, then he would have set up CM Punk at Saturday night's main event. All of that is hogwash. So I don't want to hear that anymore. I don't want to. Yeah, if it was a work, he wouldn't have been. If it was a work, he wouldn't be champion. No. And like I said before, I'll say it again. This is not a work. This is not a work. And what is it? Yeah, JD and Finn at two defenses, and two defenses had them for 111 days. That's ridiculous. Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, I read that. Bronson Reed looks good with the championship. Yeah. Raw was great. Yes, it was, Jeffrey. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, folks, it's not a work. It's not a work. So I don't want you all to think about that. This is a work. This is not a work. This is not a work. This is not a work. Okay. So Rollins is out. The belt has been declared vacant. So we have a conundrum. All right. So as I predicted, and I said this, and it came true what I said, that Punk will go after that vacated title on Saturday night's main event, and that's exactly what the WWE did. So later on in the night, the WWE had a battle royal, which I will talk about. Jey Uso wins the battle royal in the main event, and he will take on CM Punk for the vacated title at Saturday night's main event in Salt Lake City, Utah. But here's the thing now. People have been asking, Earl, who do you want to see win this match? This is a pick'em. This is a pick'em. This really is a pick'em. Pick the person. Pick the person. Who do you want to see put that belt on? Do you want to see Punk get it back? Or do you want to see Jey Uso get it back? I mean, pick them. Pick your poison. Who do you want to see? I want to know in the chat. Who do you want to see win this match? That's Saturday Night's main event. Because I can't choose. I can't choose. I cannot choose who I think is going to win this match. I can't. I just can't. CM Punk, yeah. I think Jimmy will cause Jay. That's a possibility. But I'm gonna kind of agree with Jeffrey. I'm leaning towards CM Punk here. I think Punk will get the title back. And here's why. The WWE owes Punk a receipt. They owe him because Punk only had the title for 3 minutes and 45 seconds before Rollins came out with the fake injury and cashed in the Money in the Bank and ruined Punk's night in the main event of SummerSlam. So I'm going to give it to CM Punk. I'll give it to CM Punk. I said it's a toss-up, but now that Jeffrey has smartened me up, I'm gonna go with Punk. I'm gonna go on the Earl side question, Punk. All right, folks. So that was the main event of Raw, and I gave that match on the entertainment level. I gave the match a 7. The Battle Royal got a 7 in the entertainment level. I liked it. I thought it was great. Jey Uso wins the title. Punk's the number 1 contender, and he's going to go against Jey Uso. All right, here's another thing that was very surprising. Dragon Lee and AJ Styles took on Finn Balor and JD McDonough for the WWE Raw Tag Team Championships. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. This match was fun. It was physical. It was hard hitting. It was moves like I've never seen before. But in the end, when the smoke was cleared, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee became tag team champions. And this was great. This is something that AJ needed. He's leaving WWE next year. He said he's going to retire after next year. And this was a fitting way to put it on AJ. What a feather in AJ's cap and his resume that he became a tag team championship with a luchador. This is absolutely great. A TNA guy and a luchador becomes a tag team champions. I absolutely loved it. I had no issues with it whatsoever. And it was great. It was great. It was great. Garrett, how's it going tonight, Garrett? Hit the like button, Garrett. Garrett, how's it going tonight? Thank you for coming into the wrestling experience. Yeah, this is the start of the AJ Styles retirement tour. Yeah, it is. It is. And AJ wins the tag team titles. I didn't have a problem with it. I did not have a problem with this whatsoever. I had no issues with them winning the title, him and Dragon Lee. I don't know how long they're going to have Dragon Lee and AJ have these titles, but I'm going to tell you something, folks. I'm going to enjoy this ride with the two of them. I think they're a great tag team. They're great together. And AJ wins the match and the title and the tag team titles on. And let me tell you something. When JD McDonough and Finn Balor only defended the titles only twice. They only defended the titles twice. They really didn't have much of a title reign. They really didn't. They didn't defend it hardly on WWE television anywhere. I never saw any match announcement for the tag team titles being up for grabs. So this is great. Maybe they'll get more exposure and maybe they'll get more matches under their belt for the tag team titles because it should be like that. WWE put out AJ Styles in Japan, Swan Song in Japan on YouTube. Oh, okay, Jeffrey. I got to check that out. Okay, let's see. Okay, so I gave the match a 9. The match gets a 9 for what it was. The match got a 9, and I loved it. AJ Styles wins some gold for the first time in a vastly long time in the WWE. So those are the two highlights on Raw. As you all know, ladies and gentlemen, we are getting ready for the Survivor Series. It's 4 weeks away on Saturday night, the 29th of November. And that will be WWE's final PLE of 2025. That is it. WWE will be saying goodbye to their pay-per-view calendar for this year. And I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. Yeah, JD and Finn are going to blame Dominic. Yeah, it's his idea. Yes. Well, blame Dominic. I don't know what to tell you. Speaking of Dominic Mysterio, he retained the Intercontinental Championship against Rusev with any means necessary. Thanks to Penta. All right. So those were the highlights of Raw. And like I said, I gave the show a B+. It was a good show. It was a decent show. It was a better main event. And the WWE is starting to think outside the box when it comes to main events and giving fans different outcomes and different meanings when it comes to Raw's main event. All right, folks. Here's another announcement from WWE. WWE has announced that on Sunday, this is a first. On Sunday, another Sunday PLE. Get ready, mark this date on your calendar for 2026. On Sunday, September the 6th. On Sunday, September the 6th, in New Orleans, Louisiana, WWE will present to you Money in the Bank. Money in the Bank will happen on Sunday, September the 6th, from the Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. And that will be available on ESPN and, of course, all cable and home and satellite providers. So that will be Money in the Bank, Sunday, September the 6th. Sunday, September 6th, and tickets will be coming to you very soon in New Orleans. New Orleans couldn't get the big one, which they really wanted, WrestleMania, but the plans fell through. Las Vegas got WrestleMania again, and the consolation prize for New Orleans, Money in the Bank. So, not sure how I feel about it being in September. Well, yeah, I know. Normally, Money in the Bank is a July 4th holiday. They usually do it in July, but WWE says, no, this is going to happen in September. So mark it on your calendar, September 6th, 2026, WWE will present to you Money in the Bank. All right. All right. Oh, all right. Yeah. That's WWE for you. All right, folks. All right. Let's move on. Let us move on, shall we? All right, folks, we're going to rewind. We're going to rewind right now, ladies and gentlemen. WrestleDream. AEW's WrestleDream. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. The past two WrestleDreams have been very not so good. Not so good. The first one was great. The last one was not good at all. But this one this one was really, really good. I have to say there was only one match on here that I felt was not pay-per-view worthy. The rest of the show was decent. The show was decent. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't terrible. It was decent. And it was good for what it was. And that's the way I did it. Um yeah, last year was lackluster. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. There was no build to this WrestleDream, this year's WrestleDream. There was no build. But what it produced, I thought it was okay. I thought it was okay. It was a vast improvement from what we got last year. Um, yeah, Tekla and Jamie Hayter. Yes, thank you, Jeffrey. Yeah, Tekla and Jamie Hayter. That match should have not been on the pay per view. That match should have been on Collision. That match should have been on Dynamite, not a pay per view, not on a pay per view card. Or you could have did it in the buy-in. One out of the two. One out of the two. But it's just not. It was just not pay per view worthy. And let me just tell you something. There was a match that was broadcast on TNT, and FTR was in the ring, and they were having a pre-show match. When the pyro came off, the pyro came on the stage, and the crowd looked confused as to what was going on here. Well, apparently, nobody told the crowd that we're going live on pay-per-view. That's supposed to be a ring announcer's job. A ring announcer's job is supposed to let the crowd know, look, listen, we're going from TV to pay-per-view. Get ready and get set. So the pay-per-view went off, the pyro went off, and we were still having the FTR match. So we got some bonus matches. Or 0 hour. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I just said, the 0 hour. Okay, so the FTR match was okay. So I did not watch none of the pre-show matches. I didn't watch it. Um I would have been confused too. Yeah, I was, the thing was is that the match is going on, and as the match is going on, the pyro went off. And I was just like, why is the pyro going off? I'm like, oh, we're on pay-per-view. That's why. But there was no announcement to it. The announcer said it on TNT that we were going to transition from TNT to the pay-per-view, but no announcement to the crowd in the live audience. All right. So let's just talk about some of the matches you saw here. Let's just talk about this. The Hurt Syndicate took on the Demand in a tornado tag team match. The match was fine, but here's the thing. What was this? Yeah, Jeffrey said. Yeah, I was confused. Getting back to the tag team tornado match, I thought the match was fine, but again, we saw this on Dynamite. We saw this in the last pay per view. What is going to change? What is going to change here? The Hurt Syndicate. Hurt Syndicate. Yeah. Was that the? So the Hurt Syndicate defeated defeated the Demand on the pay per view. The Hurt Syndicate went over the and again, like I said, the match was fine. But again, like I said, we've seen this 3 different times, and I don't want to see this again. I really don't want to see this again. This is why you ruin the audience, and you've ruined the audience because here's the thing. I'm not trying to be negative here. I'm not trying to be. But what I'm trying to say as a wrestling fan is that if you have a story, all right, if you have a story, You can dial it back once. You can dial it back maybe twice, but not three different times because the ending. Where are you going to do with this ending? How are you going to end this? And that's what my issue is. That's what my issue is. How are you going to end this? How are you going to end this? And that was my issue. So, do I want to see this again? No. No, absolutely not. And what Jeffrey said, and we're going to see it again. We're going to see it because Ricochet ruined the Hurt Syndicate Trios match on the. Yeah. 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 It looks like we're going to see this again. Why? Why? Why are we seeing this again? Why are we seeing this again? You're beating a dead horse here. All right. As far as the entertainment level goes, I'm going to give this match. I'll be nice. I'll give the match a 6. The match gets a 6, and that's the best I can do for it. The match gets a 6. The match gets a 6, folks. All right. All right. So we move on from that. Jamie Hayter took on Tekla. Again, like I said before, I said again, the match should have been on pay-per-view. It's not pay-per-view worthy match. It really isn't. And listen, if you disagree with me, I'm just going to put a disclaimer out here. Folks, these are my thoughts, and these are what I'm thinking. I'm not here to change anyone's thought process. If you disagree with me, that's fine. If you respectfully disagree with me, that's fine. But for me personally, this is not pay-per-view worthy. This is just not. Like I said, this match belonged on Dynamite. This match belonged in Collision, not on a pay-per-view main card. No. It's just not. Agreed. Yep. That's fair, a 6. Yes, Jeffrey. Yes. Yeah. The match got a 6, and that's what the okay, so Jamie Hayter wins over Tekla. And again, like I said before, the match just did not belong there. It just was an add-on. It was just something that it was a flavor of the month that Tony Khan wanted to taste. So I'm gonna give this match. I'll be nice. I'll give the match a 4. The match gets a 4, and that's the best I can do for it. Do I want to see this again? Absolutely not. But the match gets a 4. The match gets a 4. What did you say? Yeah, they didn't have, there was no chemistry. Absolutely, there was no chemistry in the match. It really wasn't. So I give the match a 4. Mercedes Moné came out with all her belts, and Mina Shirakawa was the victim of another belt snatching from Mercedes. After she cheated and putting her foot on the rope and becoming a champion, she became the interim TV champion in Ring of Honor. You know something, folks? Here's the thing that I don't understand with this, and I'm getting really tired of this now. I really am. Why is Mercedes Moné have all of these belts? Why? Why is Tony Khan allowing this woman to put belts on her that she really doesn't deserve to be needed? She don't need them. She don't need them. She is the longest reigning TBS championship, and that should have been the focus. That should have been the focus until she lost the belt and then go after the women's title. That's the way you should have done her. But you created a belt monster out of her. This woman walks around with 14 different or 13 different genders, whatever it is, and her ego is out of control and it's way up to the roof. And I don't agree with her. I cannot respect her as a champion. I just can't. I can't stomach her anymore. I just can't deal with her anymore. I don't want to see her with any more belts. She doesn't need it. But belt snatching or you like that, Jeffrey? Belt snatching or you killed it. Earl, I know what's gonna happen. When she loses to Chris, it's gonna be her downfall. I know that. I know that they're doing. I know that they're doing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I agree. Oh, what's good, AK? AK is in the house. AK, what's good? What's good, my friend? How's it going tonight? What's good? What is good, AK? AK is in the building. Love it. Um, yeah, I know. Yeah, listen, listen. That's the only champion she hasn't beaten for. Yeah, exactly. Again, like I said before, and I'll say it again. She doesn't need all these championships. It's not necessary, and it's just like she's just sucking the life out of the women's division. She's a belt vampire. She comes in and she swoops down and she sucks the life out of everyone until they drop their title to her. And this is absolutely ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And what did Jeffrey say? But I agree, she doesn't need no, she don't. She don't need them. She don't need them. That's the only championship she yeah. Okay, I read that. Yeah, I she doesn't need them, Jeffrey. She doesn't need them. No, she does not. She does not need them. She doesn't need them. She doesn't. And what did she say? What did she say? She's gonna crash out when she loses. She's gonna crash. I hope so. I hope so. Because this is ridiculous. She don't need all those titles. She doesn't need all those titles, folks. She doesn't. And I'm sorry, but if you don't feel the same way I do, then that's fine. That's perfectly fine. I'm not going to go against your thought process. I'm not. I'm not going to argue with you. None. You believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe, and that's fine. And I respect you for it. But in my heart of hearts, I cannot respect her as a champion. I just can't. I just can't. I can't bring myself to that. I just can't. She is too much out of control. And this title change, she's making a mockery of title changes, and I can't deal with it anymore, and I can't support it. So I wash my hands of Mercedes Monet. As far as the, as far as the, as far as the match goes that she had with Marina Shafir, I'm gonna give the match a one. The match is a one. And that's the best I can do for an entertainment. The match was a one. It really was. I agree 100%. Yep. Earl, I gotta run, so I'll catch you later. She was a great. She, this was a great stream, Brian. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, and have a good night. Have a good night, Jeffrey, and A1. Yes, I agree 100%. Oh my God, I can't. Thank you very much, Jeffrey, for your kind words. Jeffrey is funny. Thank you, Jeffrey, for stopping in tonight. I greatly appreciate it, friend. Have a great, safe weekend, and I'll talk to you real soon on the other side. All right, folks. So that was Mercedes Bonet. That was Mercedes Bonet. And like I said, I gave the match a one. The match gets a one, and that's the best I can do for it. All right. The AEW Tag Team Champions Bandito Brodito took on Takeshita and Okada. The match was fine. The match was all right for what it was. It was a hard-hitting match. It was a thought-provoking match. It was a great match and everything. I had no interest with it. This was a fun tag team match. Okada gave the Rainmaker to Takeshita, and then he smiled when he delivered it. He smiled when he delivered it. And again, like I said before, I'll say it again. What was that about? But you know something, folks? This is a tease. This is a tease because I have a feeling Tony Khan is on the right track here. And I certainly believe that he is going to book this match for Full Gear or World's End. One out of the two. These two men are going to come head to head. And what is Don Callis going to do when that match takes place? What is he going to do when that match takes place? Okada and Takeshita are going to butt heads sooner or later. Sooner rather than later. And it's going to happen on a pay-per-view. We don't know which one. But I'll tell you something. I'm in for it. I will invest my time to watch that. Trust me. All right. Rodito retains, and retain they did. Jurassic Express versus the Young Bucks. $500,000 match. The match was fine. The match was fun. The match was great. The crowd loved the Jurassic Express. They was dancing and singing and grooving in their seats the entire night. I was even doing it. It was great. I love seeing the Jurassic Express reunite. This was absolutely a great tag team match. This was a fun tag team match. The Bucks are broke, and rightfully so. They showed it on camera. They keep poking at the Bucks being broke. And I love what Tony Khan is doing here. He's fixing the Bucks after they did what they did to him. And like I said, Jurassic Express wins the match. They win the belt. They win the money. And they walk away $500,000 richer. All right. And on an entertainment level, I gave the match a 7. The match gets a 7. And that's the best I can do for it. Match gets a 7, folks. Match gets a 7. All right. Mark Briscoe took on Kyle Fletcher. All right, folks. This match was I believe this was number 5. This was number 5 in the series. Kyle Fletcher again defeats Mark Briscoe to retain the title. Briscoe comes out last night on Dynamite and says that he wants another match, another crack at it. And Don Callis said no. No more rematches for Mark Briscoe and Kyle Fletcher. So I guess that's it. Women's Championship, Chris Statlander took on Toni Storm. Oh, and the Mark Briscoe, Kyle Fletcher match, I'll give the match a 6 in the entertainment level. I'll give the match a 6. That's great. Toni Storm took on Chris Statlander for the AEW Women's Championship. Again, this was great. Statlander comes in after Mercedes Moné gets celebrated in the ring, and she laid waste to them. And now these two women will go after the AEW Women's title at Full Gear. That's the first match on the docket. Okay, so we had the women's match. Chris Statlander took on Toni Storm. Statlander retains the AEW Women's Championship as she defeated Toni Storm. I'll give the match a 7. I'll raise the entertainment level up to a 7. The match gets a 7, and it was good for what it was. And do I want to see it again? Absolutely not. But it was a good, fun match, to say none the least. Hangman Adam Page took on Samoa Joe. All right, folks, the match was physical. The match was hard, and it was a lot of heavy lifting. But Adam Page, in the end, withstood and withstand Samoa Joe and retained the AEW Championship. Afterwards, the Ops brutally attacked Hangman Adam Page. And from what Samoa Joe said last night, this is not over. This is not over by a long shot. Will he ask for a rematch at Full Gear? We're going to find out. We're going to definitely find out. But the Ops last night had an attitude, and an attitude they had. And thanks to Ricochet and his cronies, they made sure that the Hurt Syndicate didn't walk away the Trios Championship, and that's exactly what happened. The Ops retained last night on Dynamite. But in this instance here, Samoa Joe, I think, wants another crack at Mr. Hangman Adam Page. I'll give the match an 8. The match gets an 8 for what it was. It was good for what it was. Again, like I said, we're going to see it again. We're going to see it again. Okay. And of course, the I Quit match. The I Quit match, Darby Allin took on Jon Moxley. This was absolutely brutal. Folks, if you did not like gross things in wrestling matches, this match was not for you, folks. This wasn't for you. This match was absolutely physical. It was hard to watch. It was at times very cringy, but in the end, Darby Allin made Moxley say, "I quit," and tap out. And what was even more surprising was a white-bearded Sting. White-bearded, bearded Sting comes out. The lights went out. Sting comes out with the baseball bat, and he cleared away and cleared the house of the Death Riders to allow Darby Allin to pick a major victory over Moxley. This was the first time that Moxley uttered the words, "I quit," and this was absolutely great. Darby Allin made Moxley say the word, "I quit," and that was the end of the match. The match gets a 7.5. The match got a 7.5, and this was great. This was absolutely great. So, folks, that is it. That was WrestleDream. I gave the show a B, a solid B. The show got a solid B from me, and this was great. This was great stuff from AEW. Didn't have any build, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't terrible. It wasn't horrible. It was decent. The pay-per-view was decent, and that's the best I can do for it. I gave the show, like I said, a solid B. I gave the show a solid B. All right, folks, that is gonna do it. And Dynamite was good last night. Another show, gave the show a B too. Gave the fallout from WrestleDream. I gave the show a B. Show was good last night. Dynamite was pretty decent last night. Not bad. Not bad. All right, folks, that's gonna do it. That is going to do it for the wrestling experience. I want to thank you all for watching tonight. I want to thank Jeffrey. I want to thank AK. I want to thank you, all of my chat members, and thank you all for watching. And again, like I said, I'll say it before, I'll say it again. I'll see you and I see you. And again, like I said, enjoy the weekend. Enjoy Monday Night Raw. Enjoy Halloween Havoc. Enjoy everything that is coming to you this weekend. If you're watching baseball, the World Series begins this weekend. Of course, we have Halloween Havoc and everything else in between. So we're getting ready for the Halloween week, which starts next week. So until then, everyone, thank you for watching the Wrestling Experience. I'm Earl Cole. Enjoy your weekend. Have a safe and enjoyable weekend. And like I said, I'll see you when I see you in cyberspace. Until then, everyone, good night, everyone, and thank you for watching the Wrestling Experience.